This is my little opportunity to thank everyone present here and those joining us online through Zoom. It is not hyperbolic to say that your presence here today means a lot to me and my family. I'm here to share some fun and lasting memories of my parents. But because of time, and given all the lengthy, unusual biography you've heard, I'll keep it very simple and short. However, I would not do justice to my tribute without indulging you with some context or background of my growing up years. As you've heard from the biographies, I grew up in a terrain that is very difficult. And most of you in this room know exactly the description of the terrain. Some of you may not be familiar with it. But those of you familiar with it know it's a tough terrain to survive. That's why when you look at the very unusual biography on my dad, it was intended to capture the historic context of the environment. By the time I was even born, there was no single school, what we call Western education, in my territory, even when I was born. Now I talk about my parents. No single school, nothing. The nearby institution, if I tell you where I did my primary school, then some of you here will probably be hearing for the first time. I did my primary school at St. Paul's Anglican School, Popotan. My primary school, Popotan, way down the stream, the river line down. From my place, it was why did I end up at the Popotan? Because my uncle, Prof. Emmanuel, who my father actually named me after him, as is my namesake. Because these two brothers, the reason why I put their photo, those photos you are seeing there, that is their prime age photos. A long time ago. That's their prime age, you can see them. These two brothers work together in a very unusual way because of the terrain. And it turned out to be, in their family, there are only two brothers with three sisters. But my uncle is the senior, the first child of the parent. My uncle was the only one that had education in the whole family. And he was one of the few people that exposed for education in the whole community, not only my village, but the whole community of Andoni, Obodo. Most of you should know the area. My uncle was one of the very few individuals at the time that actually was exposed to education. And my uncle also even schooled in Opopo town. And I ended up working in Opopotan as a court clerk. During the time I was working in Opopotan as a court clerk, that was when I was with him. That's where I went to elementary school. Okay. By that time, at my own age, growing up, there's nothing like elementary school nearby. And you can see everybody, the whole, what you grow up to see your parents doing. My dad was very serious in fishing. Didn't go to school, didn't have a formal education. But because of the influence of the senior brother, and because of the way both of them bonded, their bonding is indeed, because of their bonding, that has catapulted all of us and all the children growing up under them. In my family, we don't talk about first cousin. We don't know what we call cousin. We're all brothers and sisters. See my sister here. And my children refer to her auntie. I mean, I don't, even the husband, I don't call her, even though we're first cousin, but that's the dad. Our father is my namesake, is my uncle. But you know, we all grew up among ourselves. So, called first cousin, we just see ourselves as brothers and sisters. That's not like, even because it's very difficult to come up with the word in Andoni for cousin. So, but in terms of my memory of my parents, starting with my dad, I grew up to see my dad. If it is this time, I think most people will, my dad will get a triple award of being Justice of the Peace. What did I say that? In the local area there, my dad acted as a judge to clear disputes between people, including marriage, divorce, and so on. And myself, my senior brother, I have 3 senior brothers above me and 2 sisters above me. So among the 6 of us earlier on, we are the only children of my father. My immediate senior brother, the medical doctor, when we were growing up, those of you know, we grew up cycled in groups of age groups. And the age group dynamics in the locality, in the community is very strong. And some of you probably may be familiar with that. My immediate senior brother belonged to a different age group above me, followed by myself. And my older brother, the first one, who was a headmaster for a long time, belonged to another different age group. And in the locality, the age group, they do things to compete. And as we are growing up, guess what happened? And most of the competition has to do around the occupation of fishing and so on. To be honest with you, I don't know why that was the case. Myself and all my senior brothers were always considered by our age group as the weaklings. Oh, I'm being honest. I mean that we are not strong enough to do a lot of fish. Because our counterparts, if you see them, they're actually doing a lot of that, helping their parents and their father and so on to do all kinds of, even trying to take over the whole occupation, the trade from there. But every time we try it, boy, we always come short. So we're always, among our age group, we're always the laughing stock. In my age group, I'm always the laughing stock when it comes to that. In my brother's age group, it's always the laughing stock. So can you imagine this? Perceptively, how could people who have not even been to school, look at that weakness as not a weakness, but a benefit? My dad looked at it carefully. Sometimes he just look at us and just say, my children, I don't know what you guys are going to do. You can fish. So what do you do? My dad was looking and said, oh. Because all our age mates will be taunting us, honestly. They'll be taunting us. Yes. But when I think the federal government now come up with the free primary education and launch it, the first place in my area that got the first elementary school is Samanga, where I was staying. By then, my senior brothers, they were of age to start going to school. Yeah. They started those school, and the school ended up to be there because at that time too, one of the first headmasters in the area came from Samanga. That's why part of it. But the reason why I'm trying to describe this background of the age group dynamics here is because my dad came to a point. With his bonding with my uncle, come to look. The only way out for you guys here in this community, you have to go to school. Because you can't do anything when you go to fishing. You cannot fish. You can't do it. I see it. You can't compare with your mates. Your mates beat every time. You cannot do it. So you notice that some people, that's a weakness there, but in God's side, that weakness is strength. So when the opportunity comes for us to go to school, after the elementary school, opportunity came up after the war, but how we go to secondary school is another issue. My parents were still not rich. But my mom always said, if that is the path you are going to take it seriously, because that is the only path available for you now. That is the only path available for you guys. So take it seriously. So in effect, what we observe over the years between these two brothers is what I want to tell you. These two brothers have a dream. And that dream probably is what actually gave my own father, who never even went to school, the perceptiveness that even me, when I think about it today, I said, where did he get this from? They had a dream of touching the future they will not see. That's their dream. They want to touch the future they will not see. And how can they do that? And that's what they're telling us. In this household, the only path we see for you guys is education. The only path we see for you is education. And they preach that almost on a daily basis. And not only that, because they see that it's education that will transform the society, our terrain there is a tough one. If we rely strictly on fishing alone, I think we will probably remain stagnant, not moving anywhere. That's how we transform the society here. And the dream partly has come true to some extent. Because as you heard from the biography, not necessarily taking delight and pride in it, but the facts stated in the biography are true. I know how the health center we mentioned in the biography, my senior brother, the medical doctor, when he was serving as the deputy chairman in the local government, he was the one that spearheaded that effort and make sure we have that person. He was the one. The elementary school that finally came to my place in 1977, the elementary school that came to Ibo in 1977 was spearheaded by my senior brother, John Eneyo, who is not late. He was the one that spearheaded that effort. So today, a place that I grew up where there was no secondary school, there was no elementary school, we have elementary school, we have a secondary school. The secondary school came on board in 1981, and that one I was part of the effort to gear that up, to get to secure government secondary school at Ibo. Not only that, our parents actually instill on all of us that what we do should not be something limited to ourselves only. That we should understand and always reminding us, wherever you end up wherever you end up, remember home. Don't forget where you come from. They always say that to us. Don't forget where you come from, no matter how difficult the terrain may be. Don't turn back. This is I'm saying that because sometimes, even in spite of what happened to my family, I know some of my friends here who come to know about it even before now. Sometimes we wonder, why do you still go to that place? Why do you still go to Nigeria every time? Every year you go to Nigeria. What's wrong with you? In spite of all what your family is going through? I said, yeah, because my parents already said that to us. You cannot, they said, regardless of what happens, you cannot turn your back. They sing those like a song to us. So it may not be fun to say that I'm going through this, just like in some of the songs we have. For me, and for my siblings and so on, it is well. It is well with us. It is well. And we are just vessels for God to use. And we will not relent for God to use us however He sees fit, even in the face of difficulties. And we cannot turn our back in our place, regardless. Yes, we can understand the background of what triggered the atrocity. Some may be sponsored by some people, regardless of that. But we can still, if we do otherwise, I don't think it will be pleasing to our parents. It will not be pleasing to them. So do not forget where you come from, regardless. And I think my children too will try the best we can to pass on that legacy to them. In my household, my children know that. Our family, not only my own immediate household, my entire family, both here and at home in Nigeria, going to school is not a choice. Because I have a toilet I want to go to. No, it's not a choice. You can do the school, and after that you can do whatever you want to do. But going to school is not a choice. You can't say, no. Going to school in my family, both here and at home, is not a choice. Child cannot go and say, no, I'm not going to school. No way. And that is the legacy from my dad and my uncle. Because it is through that means that we can transform our community and our society. Like we said, if I were to rely on the fishing aspect only, probably who knows where I will be today. So as you see me today, all just to the glory of God as a result of what they've done for us. You've heard from the biography too, in terms of talk about my mother. If I want to, my mother is considered the mother of everybody. I will not say the most enduring woman in my life, the most persevering. And for some reason, my mother has always reminded me of something. Always remind me of the Galatians 5:22. Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit. I have not seen, and from my mother, I come up to this conclusion. True mothers, and all mothers in this room, also true for you. Only mothers actually demonstrate almost every aspect of that fruit of the Spirit. For us men, no, we're bankrupt. True mothers demonstrate the fruit of the Spirit to some core. And if you don't demonstrate that, because it's difficult when you are raising a lot of it. And a lot of mothers, true mothers, they demonstrate a lot of those fruit of the Spirit. My mother, with all those children under the tutelage, my mother raised everybody. But just like we all, given our society, all of us come from too, describing real true mother, I don't think I can even describe better than the popular songwriter in our community, Prince Nico Mbaka, who says what? Sweet mother. And look at what he said about sweet mother. I cannot describe anything more than what he says there. Sweet mother. Everybody knows that song, Sweet Mother. Sweet Mother, a few lines you can remember about Sweet Mother. I know they forget you, Mama. I don't forget you. For the suffer, you suffer for me. Sweet Mother, I know we forget you. For the suffer is one, and he goes on to say, when I can cry, my mother will cry. All these things he's saying here, all of us, and for me, growing up. So my mother is special. Of course, in our African context, mother is almost non-touchable for most African men. You can't talk mother at all. You can play with somebody's father, but don't play with somebody's mother. I'm saying the truth.
That's right.
Yeah, you can. In African country, you can't play with the African mother. No way. Particularly husband and wife. Wife, don't go mess with mother-in-law. It's tough. Yeah. So, but in all, I just want to shorten it by saying my parents would be glad to see that our effort to keep fighting to improve the livelihood of our community, of our terrain, not giving up in spite of what we encounter, if we keep the effort on. That's why if you listen to, we carefully selected some of those passages. The Bible is true, it's correct. Don't worry and fret about the evildoers. Most of the people that carry out the atrocity about my dad, even today, they're not living. They are gone. They are gone. Gone in their own ways. God took care of it. Most of them are not living today. So, but their legacy is what we want to carry forward by not turning our back. So, my friends, those of you who have been in the room, if you think that way, that you love going to Nigeria, yes, I do love my country, Nigeria, regardless. It's fraught with all kinds of problems. I experience it in my family. I know that we're experiencing Latin too. Frankly, the next day you hear me, I'll be in Nigeria, I love my country. Because I can't turn my back on it, because if I do so, it will not be pleasing for them, for my parents. So I will still be going home. Not because I'm not aware of what is going on, I do. And I don't go home and start doing demonstrations, showing things like, yeah, yes, I'll arrive, I've come. No. I go home calmly, meet my family, come back. That's all I do. So for that, I thank you all for being here. And I see my good friends who are here, the Riversmen and the BMJ group. I thank you all for coming. And at the end of it, I think we'll all share together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.